Welcome back to Runner's Garden. Today I'm going to review the Mammut Trion 15. Mammut is a Swiss company going back to 1862. They got their start in climbing ropes. Before I get into the pack, I'll explain how I got to this purchase. When I first got into marathon running, I was a big fan of these Salomon vests. I like the portability. You can just stuff so much in these expandable pockets. And I like to be able to grab my Salomon soft flasks up front here because I can't really reach around back too well with my flexibility. The biggest one of these that I own is the Active 8. And this worked really well when I was doing the trail runs, ultra, and also summiting. So if I stay in a mountain cabin, I can leave my big pack at the cabin and then summit with something like this. This is the Deuter Trail Pro 36, which was great for a 2-day hike where you're staying in the cabin. I don't think you could fit a tent in this if you're carrying all your food and water and everything else that you need, unless you maybe split up the tent with somebody else and somebody carries the poles and you carry the rest. You could probably attach it to the outside, and there's a pretty good stuff sack here. With my schedule, I'm mostly, the longest I'd be out is 2 days. And a lot of times it's just 1 day. But I want to, put that to the max. Like, we're talking leaving my area in Taiwan before sunup and getting back well after sundown. So, 12-hour hike, I'm game. And that is exactly where this thing comes in. I don't need a tent if I'm gonna be doing a day hike, but I need something bigger than that Active Skin 8. Now this does fit, I think, a 2-liter water bladder, but once you get your food and everything, it is really packed to the limit. And I have carried a pole on this, but it wasn't so easy. You can buy this thing called a quiver, which loops there and down here, these tiny loops as an accessory here too. But this thing has a dedicated area where you can carry your poles. And we have this daisy chain that runs down here so you can set it. I actually have a pole that doesn't collapse all the way, so I do need to adjust this. My Black Diamond Distance Carbon FLZ poles, they're able to separate here, but not here where they're supposed to. So if anybody has a fix for that, not using vice grips, let me know. But I can still use that, and I've done it like this on my last hike. That's what I've come up with so far for this pole that doesn't break down. I moved the loop down a few notches on the daisy chain. If you had smaller collapsible poles, you could also utilize the strap here, and this doesn't go down far enough, but if you didn't have your flask in here, you could put poles up front. The Salomon Active Skin 8 is starting to fray a little bit in places. You can see this. It's still good to go for a while, but I like to have a new one. And I can still have soft flasks in here because I have loads of those soft flasks. This does have the compartment inside here for your bladder if you need it, and there's a place for the hose to come out, although I don't like to use those hoses. I just like to pull out the bladder and refill whatever I've got on front here. I also like to keep my cell phone up front. Some pockets above where you would put the flask as well. This would not fit your cell phone. I imagine I'd put snacks like my goos. By the way, Mammut means mammoth, and Trion means the bound state of 3 particles. 15 refers to the capacity. That's 15 liters of stuff that you can put in here. They say it weighs 420 grams. I paid, well, this says 7,300 NT dollars, but I paid, I think, 1,000 less than that. So maybe 62 or 6,300 NT dollars, which is still overpaying. You can see it on the website. It's available at a pretty reasonable price, but I got it in a department store, so they have their markup. Let's read the rest of the stuff here. This is in white. I've also seen it in black. Together we create change at Mammut, or Mammut. We are committed to using sustainable materials, offering fair working conditions, and continuously reducing our emissions. Okay, visit the website. Blue Design product, fair wear, PFC free, and recycled materials are used. It was put together in Vietnam. So I have the vest on now. It looks like a regular running vest from the front. The way you adjust here is you have these that snap together, and then you can tighten them by pushing down on a tab on this side and the other side. A little bit finicky, but once you got it set, it's set. Up top, well, two. And there's also these orange ones for me. That is really snug. It's really high up on my body. So I told you I liked the Deuter products earlier. I have this hip pack. So if I really needed more carrying potential, I could wear this hip pack, which would give me more. I like to spin it around and have a flask here. I got all kinds of pockets on this one. Not uncomfortable at all to wear both of these simultaneously. Upstairs to my camping supplies area and see what fits. Back-to-back typhoon days here in Taiwan. So I had the day off, and tomorrow I have off as well. Just a little breezy out there. I did this before. First of all, there is this nice little mesh pack in here, and it does have a area where you can attach keys. You don't want to lose your car keys and be fumbling around when you're at the end of your hike. So as I said before, there's also a pocket for the bladder. I'm not going to fill my bladder. In fact, I lost the cap to my bladder. So I either need to find that cap or get another bladder. We're going to pretend, no, not my puffy. Let's pretend my sleeping mat is like 2 liters of water, and I'll put that in where the water would be. All right, that is in there. Now, for this bag, this 15-liter bag, this would not be an overnight trip, so we won't need a sleeping bag. But let's pretend the sleeping bag is about the size of my food bag, which is actually this. So if this were full, it might be this size. So all this is food. Let's see if I can go with my puffy. Getting tight already. Ditty bag. And my lamp, headlamp, rain jacket, another ditty bag. That is full to the max. There's a zipper. Okay, and then I can, this is a roll top. So I roll and clip. Maybe I should put the clip on the outside so it wouldn't bother my back. But anyway, there is a nice handle to pick this thing up. There is a side pocket here. Oh, and I can loosen this. This side pocket is waterproof, it seems. Here's where your tube would come out, your hose, if you're doing the bladder thing. But I'm not gonna do that. Once you have that, you can also strap this down. This is metal, by the way. And this will go, I think, right there. So I've strapped that down. Now you might think that's very cumbersome, but what you can do is you can access stuff from your side pocket here. So this goes into the compartment. Just like that Deuter bag I was showing you, that's another great feature. And this zipper here is covered with this extra rubber, this waterproofing. So I can get in there, get to my stuff. Let's put it on once. All that stuff in there, I'll probably have to readjust those straps. And I would do a better pack job than just what I did just there. Yeah, I would definitely have to readjust my straps to close it, but there will be no problem. What I like about these roll tops is, let's pretend I'm eating all my food and I'm on my way back down. My next hike is not gonna need a puffy. I know that because it's next month, which will still be hot, even up in the mountains. So now I can roll this up even further. So that is fun about the roll tops. Really can compress down. Not sure that I like having all these cords hang out so far, so I might have to deal with these somehow. Maybe there's a place I can tuck them. Got to go out for a smaller hike to do a little test before I do our longer hike in Hehuan Mountain. Coming up soon. This is just super lightweight. We have this breathable mesh here, just like in my running vests. I'm gonna trust them on their waterproofing. I think it's pretty good. Mammut has a whole video on that. You can check it out. So all that's left to do now is to go out and take it for a hike. I'll be in touch. Well, I hope you stay in touch by watching Runner's Garden. Signing off.